In November 2022, voters overwhelmingly passed a constitutional amendment that allows early voting for all statewide and federal elections. Early voting in Michigan continues this month leading up to the presidential election on Tuesday, November 5th. Last December, the Livonia City Clerk's office mailed notices to all registered voters in Livonia, giving voters the information about where the site will be located and the schedule for voting. All registered voters are eligible to vote early. Early voting allows you to cast a ballot in person before Election Day. The experience will be very similar to voting in your precinct on Election Day and will include the act of feeding your ballot into the tabulator to be processed. Once your ballot has been fed into the tabulator, it cannot be spoiled. Our early voting site will be designed to accommodate all Livonia residents in one location. You do not need to know what precinct you vote in on Election Day. You will be required to show a valid ID and complete the application to vote just like you would in a precinct on Election Day. Livonia's early voting site is located at the Housing Commission office at 10800 Farmington Road, just south of Plymouth Road on the east side of Farmington. There is a parking lot behind the building, which is where you will enter the building. This is a secure, city-owned building and will provide access to all voters. Michigan requires early voting start the second Saturday before the election and end the Sunday before Election Day. For the presidential election, the early voting site will be open Saturday, October 26th at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and will continue to be open each subsequent day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. through Sunday, November 3rd. This gives Livonia voters 9 consecutive days, 8 hours each day to vote in person before Election Day. That is an extra 72 hours to vote in person. In addition to the hours, polling locations will be open on Election Day, and if you requested and received an absentee ballot and have completed your ballot, you can bring the completed absentee ballot to the Livonia early voting site during the 9 days of early voting and place it into the tabulator. The use of cameras and recording devices inside the early voting site will not be permitted. However, voters may take a photo of their own ballot while in the voting booth, making sure not to include photos of others in the voting area. No results will be tallied at the early voting site after the polls close on Election Day. All ballots submitted at our early voting site will be totaled and reported, along with the totals from the absentee and Election Day ballots. This early voting site will allow greater flexibility for residents to vote in person other than just on Election Day. The City Clerk's office has posted all information regarding Livonia's early voting site on the city's website under the City Clerk's page, under the link Vote Livonia on the left side of the page. All of the information will be there for you to review. Early voting is all very new and exciting here in Michigan, and the Livonia City Clerk's office is here to help Livonia residents vote in the presidential election. If you have any questions regarding early voting, please call the City Clerk's office for more information.